So,
Right.
right.
See where it goes, man.
Yeah,
See where
man,
it
see where it
goes.
goes.
First
So,
episode, like
yeah. So,
quality, man.
tell me, so the name that you came up with like 10 minutes ago.
I know it's wild, is it? It's wild that we've been banding about names for this podcast, and 10 minutes before actually kicking this off, we've kind of got the name. Well, the name of the podcast is the Authentic Selves,
Mm,
and it's a bit of a play on words because we're authentic at work, but we wear a mask at work. And I guess what we're going to be talking about, we're talking about authenticity, and everything around the show is about being authentically yourself.
yeah.
Because I think once you show up as you, you get the best from you, but other people get the best from you as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
authentic selves is, well, us two, we're being authentic ourselves on this podcast,
Yeah,
as well as
100%.
the authentic selves that we play in our lives, in our career, in our relationships, and when nobody's watching and when we're alone with the
Hmm.
four walls at home as well.
Yeah,
So, and then we spoke about obviously where the kind of idea come where there's the Japanese believe that we all have three faces.
yeah.
First face is the one that we show to our kind of our working relationships and our career,
Hmm.
and when we're out in public.
Hmm.
The second face is the one that our close family and friends and partner, spouse get to see. And then the third face, which the Japanese believed that this was the truest reflection and the truest face of you,
Hmm.
is the one that nobody else gets to see. It's only you. It's you in the
Mm,
mirror,
yeah,
basically. So you get to see you. That is the realist version of you. And I think it's how to get that real face that is the only you see,
yeah,
and how you can develop the confidence to actually carry that into the other two faces.
yeah.
Not everybody gets everything of you,
Hmm.
because if you try and be everything to everyone, you're going to end up being nothing for yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's important, but you've got to try and, I guess, have a consistency with who you are when you're alone with the four walls, and who you are out in like a social setting as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You can look at that from another thing of saying it's all roles that you're playing and everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the name. So that was cool making
Mm-hmm.
that up just like 10 minutes before we decide to start recording.
I think we've had conversations way before this first recording that
Yeah.
we've always said it's not so much about the name or the logo, or it's more about just two guys, one in Scotland and
Yeah.
one Scottish guy in Switzerland.
There we go.
So,
See? Look
aye, Scotland
at
mugs to come.
that.
But I think it should always be just two guys talking about life, what's going on,
Mm.
interests, um, just being real. I think the world is absolutely starving for a real conversation,
I
because
think
there's
so.
so much, pardon the term I phrase, but so much scripted
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
You know,
You just look at LinkedIn,
and
man.
well, I think you say LinkedIn, but I think you could say that across all of the social channels.
Oh
To be
yeah.
perfectly honest with you, you know, I think if we're doing this for ourselves and being authentically ourselves,
Hmm.
but we've always said as well that we hope the people that choose to spend their time maybe listening to this or
Hmm.
watching
Hmm.
this get something from it. And that is
Yeah.
the overarching kind of goal of why we're wanting to do this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, we're doing it firstly because we enjoy it. We turned out to be on the same page with a lot of stuff.
Mm.
Um, and I suppose that's probably the good, easy segue into the introductions.
Yes,
So,
fire away. Take it,
why,
take it away,
why on
George.
earth are we
Ladies and
here?
gentlemen, George Buchan.
What's up, people? Yeah, no, it's like I started. It was well, we may as well be honest. It was a bit of a burnout in 2019. Done lots of stuff before that. Past 20 years now over here with France, Switzerland. So yeah, bit of a burnout in 2019. Complete, if you want to like have a dictionary definition of misalignment. That was me. And so I just let go of everything. Everything just kind of crumbled. Started rebuilding. 4 months later, did this master's in psychology. Finished it with distinction. Before that, had a master's in international relations, bachelor's in sociology, uh, 3 years of psychology inside that. And so now I'm in Switzerland, Geneva, doing an independent consultancy, psychology and well-being, teaching psychology as well. And so there's that, all that kind of work stuff as well. All, like I said earlier, all the LinkedIn stuff. Like I'm proud to announce that, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, there's a hell of a lot of lived experience and going on in there, and that's
Yeah.
something that I think we not forget. But it's like nobody's going to put their lived experience down on the CV and stuff like that, talking about all the depths of that life throws at you, and
Yeah.
how you get out of it in the end as well.
Well,
Um,
we've talked about that, like looking inward,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, talked about that
Well, that's the
before as
thing,
well.
yeah, the inner work, which also brings on to why we're doing this with
Mm.
mostly about authenticity, because it's
Hmm.
like, I see when you hear, I mean, I've said this before, it's like you hear people talking about, no, it's rare that you hear the word authentic. I'm being, true to myself or I'm being true and all this. It's like, okay, well, what is that? We've
Hmm.
said this before. Have you guys, have you done the work? Or is this just what you think? Have you looked into your conditioning? Have you looked into, your own experience? Have you looked into what on earth is going on inside? Have you looked at, is this like an emotional reactive way of living, or is this just me? Or, how on earth do you know the difference? All these things. And it's one of the things which brought us together was that we've both been really pretty deep into the who you could call, if I guess, even shadow. You're more into the young stuff than
Yeah.
me, but
So
the shadow work and all
the
that stuff.
journey into oneself, I think, is probably the best way
Yeah,
of
yeah,
putting
yeah, yeah. Pretty much exactly that. And so that's what this is all about. That's why we're doing it. And so the point then is like, okay, well, if we can create something that I mean, it makes sense to us, you know.
Well, I
But the point is that it's also that we can have, other people can hopefully listen to this. You don't have to sit, massively intent on every word and everything, but it's like there could be
mhm.
stuff that you get out of this, and if it helps, then great. If not, you know, well, worst case, it's a couple of Scottish guys having a good time on the internet. You
Well,
know what I'm
I
saying?
it's just like little nuggets of knowledge, wisdom,
Yeah,
and banter, laughter,
yeah,
and well, I've got to watch my P's and Q's. You know what I
I
mean? Trying to
have.
be authentic myself. I'm like, stop. But maybe you should tell we've got like a but being yourself, there's going to be a few quirks here and there,
Yeah,
maybe a few choice words.
yeah.
So,
But we're gonna edit
and
that out with a
we're gonna
quack.
edit it out with the quack of a duck. So
Indeed.
it's yeah, a wee bit of laughter and a bit of enjoyment in there
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So, what about yourself then, Danny?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, as you kind of intimated, I was in the too dissimilar to yourself. I had a huge breakdown and really suffered with my mental health in 2019.
Hmm.
Um, And at the time, you go to the doctor, you get subscribed pills and medication to try and get you on an even keel. But I
Hmm.
was really interested as to why this was happening to me. Why, because on the surface, I had a good job, it was comfortable, family life, everything. And then it just happened. So it was endogenous depression that I had, and that is in it, where there's like the chemical imbalance
Yeah.
in your brain.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, but that was the start of a really tough 6 to 7 years. A number of things, come after that, a few kicks in the teeth here and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I turned to philosophy and psychology
No, no.
as and writing as
Hmm.
well as tools. to journey inward to find out what was going on within me.
Hmm.
And yeah, you learn a lot about yourself, but you learn a lot about your environment, the people you have in your life. Um, and I think the biggest difference with all the struggles and the challenges that I've had over the last 6 to 8 years is that you find out the difference between who you are and what you are.
Yeah,
Because who you are and what you are two completely different things. But I always liken it that to find out who you are, you've got to look inward,
oh
and to
for
find
sure.
out what you are, you've
Hmm.
got to look outward at others, but
Yeah.
also in turn with what yourself. And yeah, yeah, it's a bit of a sobering experience to say the least when you find out the difference between two of those. But I'm now got my own kind of coaching business. Went through my International Coaching Federation certificate. Always want to be a coach. Always want to help people.
Hmm.
And I've got my own kind of coaching business now, IG2 Coaching, where I work predominantly with men around building a better, stronger mental resilience and mindset,
Yeah.
and around identity as well. So I've got kind of my own coaching framework, but also a way to undertake a course to become a practitioner in human behavioural and personality profiling in March, start of March as well. So yeah, it's kind of led me on the path to what I'm truly meant to be doing and what I
Yeah.
want to do in my life is to help people. And I think when you know just how cold, dark, lonely, and desolate a place that you can go to,
Yeah.
you didn't like the thought of other people being there and not having, the tools to maybe get out. And yeah, just want to step out of the shadows and into the light
Well,
and
that's
help
pretty much it.
help others.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
No.
it's me like
Hmm.
so but yeah, and it's I think as well it's probably worth telling people how we come to meet as well. I think
Yeah, I
that'd be quite
suppose.
quite interesting because that's quite an interesting story in terms of synergies and divine timing, if you want to call it that
Yeah.
as well. So I met George's brother Will when I was working
I've always known
for
him by
previous
William, by
company.
the way. It's
Well, yeah, well, I
everybody
know him as
else.
Will, yeah, but
Everybody
you
knows him
obviously
as Will.
family, you know him but I met Will just through networking and through work, and just had a tough, good conversation,
Mm,
and we was having a chat about a few things here and there, and he says, "I think you would get on really well with my brother George."
hmm.
Explained that you had your own kind of psychology business in Switzerland. I thought, oh yes, this is my Carl Jung that I can lean on. Like,
It's your. It's more like your Carl Old man.
uh,
Is
who's the guy? Remember I was saying to you, it was like my favourite films, Good Will Hunting. I feel like
Oh,
a bit like Matt Damon, and you're my Robin Williams. I can't remember who's Robin Williams' character was like, but
I
yeah,
can't remember. Good film,
yeah.
but you know.
Aye, cracking film. But yeah, that's how kind of we met, and
Yeah.
we had a couple of video calls, and your brother William
Oh, you can call him Will.
made
It's
the
fine.
introduction, and yeah, and we've been speaking for God, what's that now? It's about 6 months now.
Must be about that, yeah. It
That's
would be
about six
what?
months.
Must have been October, something like that.
Yeah,
And now we're
that'd be right.
coming towards the end of February. Yeah, about 5, 6 months
hmm
anyway. Loads and loads of conversations and stuff, and just over time, I think we realised that we're pretty much on the same page. We've both got the same intentions. Help people with try, like you said, try and show them a bit of light in what did you call it? The darkness of the
Depths of despair.
depths of despair. That's the one. Yeah,
Hey, that's just putting it lightly at
I
times,
know.
like
It's
that's
funny.
putting it lightly.
The thing is, though, you can say this kind of stuff with a smile after you've been through it and you're getting out the other end and all the rest of it. So it's like
Well,
it's not like, oh no, the depths of despair and all the rest of it. It's
no,
like,
it's not doom and gloom. It comes from when I say it now, I get like a bit of a cheeky little smile about it.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
from a place of arrogance, but from a place of like, yeah, I've been to the abyss within myself, and I've
yeah,
come back holding fire. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, it's like, I suppose Carl Jung would have called that, an integrated shadow.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. It's but that's it. It's like when you've been there, like right into the depths, and alone most of the time, even if you're with somebody,
Yeah,
it's something that you kind of not necessarily have to go through alone, because then why do you have coaches and all the rest of that? But the
yeah.
point is, like, it's like, the real work is figured out, by yourself, not by somebody else, unless you're a psychoanalyst or something and it's like, yeah, I've got the answers, man. But yeah, no, it's underneath all that stuff, if you get out the other side, and the point is to also just open up and let everybody hear it. And because that's one of the other things, it's like everybody, well, not everybody, but most of the time you look out and you don't think, well, going into the supermarket, how many people here are in some existential crisis? It's like nobody thinks that, man. But
Mhm.
I think there's a lot more people are going through it than
Uh,
what you would
hundred, a
expect.
hundred percent, 100%, George. And I see that with the volunteering work that they
Uh,
do with Men in Mind and
mhm,
Women in Mind. That
mhm,
Men in Mind is a local peer-to-peer support group for men in Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire.
mhm.
Um, and Women in Mind was set up in November last year as well to help the
Uh,
ladies of our city and shire as well.
yeah.
And I remember the first, like, Men in Mind's coming up for, God, what is it, 3 years? 3 years old now.
Okay.
No, 2 years old. Is it now? When was it? 2024. So yeah, 2 years. It'll be 2 years in March next month.
Uh,
I remember, like, the first meeting, myself, Andy, and Paul was sitting there just thinking, oh my God, what if nobody shows up? Like, what if, we had people there that we knew of,
yeah.
but the first night we got 20, like, I think it was like 25 guys that came
I see.
along. And then from that, we've now got 6 men's groups running across the city and Shire
Nice.
from Tuesday to Thursday every single week.
Mhm.
And these are guys that have come along who've been really struggling and have got through a challenge in part, and now they're wanting to give back and volunteer and help
Yeah.
us, like, organically grow. And the
Mhm.
goal is we want to get across Scotland,
Mhm.
but you've got to start where you are. But it's amazing to see the number of, shall we say, emotional and psychological or physical challenges that people that have a huge effect, not in just our lives, but the people around them as well.
Mhm.
So, like, a lot of the submissions and questions and things that we get at Men in Mind come from concerned partners,
Mhm. Okay.
wives,
Mhm.
mothers, sisters.
Yeah.
Like, comes from them saying, I'm really worried about, my cousin, my partner,
Mhm.
my husband, etc. And we thought as well, the ladies must be struggling as well. So, like, there
Everybody's
was
struggling, man.
yeah,
It's
well, Aberdeen had a great local mental health charity in Mental Health Aberdeen, right? And sadly, they closed their doors
uh,
last year.
okay.
And I used their service a couple of times through some of my hard times, and they were absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
And it was sad to see them go, but I
Mm.
remember saying to Andy Joss, our CEO at Men in Mind, that we need to do something for the ladies as well. And he'd
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
had
that's
that
true.
plan in his head as well, but
Uh,
he was almost, I think his hand was not so much forced, but he thought, right, we need to do something,
yeah, it makes
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah, so I know, and I believe that the girls they've got one meeting that runs every Monday, but they're getting steady, like, mid 20s already, similar
Yeah.
to what. So, and then it's like a similar natural growth that the girls are wanting to do as well. Women
Mhm.
in Mind is to kind of get across the city and shire as well. And yeah, it's an honour and a privilege to be a part of that, and help in whatever small capacity
Yeah.
that I can. Like, and
Well, that's the thing. I mean, these things. It's like, uh, one of the things I think I'm sure I've said before, but it's like, this is a different level. But right at the basic, you know, I think both of us agree that there's a real lack of compassion,
yeah,
and empathy, uh, across the board, these days,
there's no sense
where
of
we are.
community,
Well,
George.
that's the other
No,
thing. That's
you know,
that's the same. It comes from this. It's the same root, right?
yeah.
And it's like, I was one of the things I say to pretty much to every all my courses and my classes. I'm just like, look, you don't have to go out and be, the best person in the world, but you're going, like I said, I'm taking the train when I get to Lausanne to go and teach, and I'm taking the train in the morning. It's like, just crack a quick joke to the guy or the woman behind who I'm buying the coffee from at like 6:30 in the morning. You know,
Aye.
try and make them smile. What's the worst case? Well, they don't. And what's the best case? Well, they have a little moment that's a little bit better, and then maybe it gets passed on to the guy behind you. It's not like a drip drip thing that's going to last all day, but it's just like why not? Why not
The
just
ripple, like it would be like it's what you're saying is like the ripple effect of kindness. A small act of kindness or a conversation with
yeah,
somebody can
and
have a
maybe
huge
maybe
positive
there's only
effect
one
outward.
ripple, you know.
Yeah, aye, it
But
stops with
for the
your
moment,
pebble sort of thing.
yeah, but maybe there's only one ripple, but one is more than zero.
Yeah,
So it's just like, and that's the thing. So you put that, and then you got your men in mind going on. It's like if you're wanting people to who want to give back because they've had the benefit and of the services and had like it's helped them, and you want to help back. It's like that's exactly, I think, one of the massive things that we're missing these days. So it's really
it's
cool that you're
funny.
doing that.
It's funny because you said like something there. You said like it just made me think about the sense of community, and I've had conversations with people recently
Hmm.
who are similar to to our age and grown up in the 80s and the 90s,
Yeah.
right? And I've said that there's such a lack of community now
Hmm.
that I remember, being a kid, say like the festive period, Christmas, New Year, um, you were around at your neighbours' houses with mum and dad,
Hmm.
you were around at like families and like your family, you would go and first food neighbours and,
Uh,
there was this real sense of a community that, you know, we're all maybe going through some, pardon the term, of phrase, but
Oh, we'll quack that out
we're,
later. Don't worry.
yeah, well, that'll be the first quack, will it? So, but
First
yeah,
or
like,
second.
but it's that sense of community and belonging that is sorely lacking in our modern times.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think needs to be brought back because everybody, we're so well connected with social media and the
Hmm.
internet now, and God knows what this new digital age that we're going into in AI as well is going to be
Hmm.
like. But
Hmm.
we're so well interconnected, but we haven't been so far apart
Yeah.
in human history, you know?
Yeah, it's nuts. Ironies, it's crazy, but at the same time, it's like it's free to to
Yeah,
to go ahead and just do, like show a little bit of compassion to somebody. Um, I think in one of these other episodes we can go through all these cognitive biases and all the rest of it, and because there's loads, and we all have them, even though
yeah,
we don't necessarily realize we got them, but we use them all the time. And just a classic one about people who, you know, you're always going to judge somebody. You think somebody does something stupid. A classic thing I always use in the courses is like indicating on the road. It's like the person doesn't put their indicator who's in front of you, and then suddenly you just start throwing adjectives, shouting adjectives at them. It's like you're this and that and all the rest of it. It's like, do you think the person forgot, or it could be 100. In any case, it can be 100 different reasons. Only one's going to be right, but you're immediately saying
mhm.
that's a bad person. You know. And I think
Yeah.
if you are,
We're
if
quick
you're
to
not
make it.
indicating, I would say yeah, you are actually a bad person. but
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, it's like uh, that's one of the things. But it's the judgments that we're always making on people as the person, and not the behavior. And you just decrease the intensity of that a little bit, and then it opens up for a little bit of compassion to come in, and looks a little bit of kindness, or a little, even at the absolute bare minimum, a little bit less negative emotional reactivity to whatever the hell's going on in front of you. You know? And I think we could, and this is, like I said, it's free. You don't have to.
yeah,
All you need to do is just flip your awareness just a little bit, and it's like you don't have to uh, uh, not care about anybody, or you don't have to um, not be bothered about somebody who's going through something. Um, it's like it doesn't cost anything to do that, but it seems to be so difficult to do. Huh?
See, you're talking about, like, for instance, we don't know if somebody does something wrong in traffic, and you emotionally react, and you immediately make an assumption
Mm-hmm.
that they are just being an a-hole or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. We spoke about this before as well, but it's like there's a quote by Walt Whitman, the American author. It says, "Be curious, not judgmental."
Ah.
And I really like that
Mm-hmm.
because if you're jumping to conclusions, you're painting a narrative of a story that you haven't got all the information to.
And could be absolutely completely untrue.
100%. So then, if you then instead showing judgment, show curiosity,
Yeah.
then you are able to build a real picture and build a narrative based on truth and data that you're getting from a situation. And sometimes you don't get that data, and then it's always better to look at it and think, that person was maybe needing in a rush to go and see their loved one for the last time in hospital or something. And
Yeah.
then that's where the kind of compassion and empathetic thinking starts to
Mm-hmm.
come into it,
Mm-hmm.
does it?
Well, that's it. I mean, you just if you do it once and see what happens. If you do it once, then there's the possibility of a second time. If there's a second, possibility of a third, and if you're aware of it, and it's really difficult to be aware of it in at the moment in the situation. Um, I still catch myself, and this is after having, said I've been Buddhist now for like 5 years, took the Bodhisattva vows, and so I'm meant to be engendering compassion like crazy levels, but I still catch myself, man.
Mm-hmm.
When stuff and with the reactive, the negative reaction, a normally negative emotional reaction for people doing stupid things in front of me or to me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing important with that is one of the things that I read was that you're not meant to have, they call it idiot compassion. You don't just give out
Yeah,
you don't just
yeah,
give out
yeah, yeah,
compassion
yeah,
for everybody all the time. It's like, no, people also have a brain. Then you get
yeah,
into the stuff about free will. People have the free will to do it, but then you're just like, okay, and then you've got conditioning, which comes in, and it all just shows you how stupidly complex we all are. But at the same time, it's like, you don't have to go that deep. It's just like, okay, how is this going to change my day? Like, really, how is it going to change my day? I was thinking this the other day. I had somebody, a stupid little thing. It was a woman at the behind me at the supermarket. I'm putting all my stuff on the what do you call it, the belt,
conveyor belt, is it?
conveyor belt
Conveyor
thing.
belt
Aye,
kind of thing.
putting all my stuff, and she immediately starts putting her stuff as well. And I'm like, I'm not even finished putting mine out. And in my head, I'm thinking some bad words and stuff, and all the rest of it. And then I'm like, really, what what difference does that make? And then to my day, to my moment right now, it's like, worst case, you turn around and say, look, just give me a minute. Oh, without the shouting and the carry on. It's just like, just chill and say, look, just give me a minute. Instead of going, and off into the rumination, all that,
Aye,
and
from
coming out
0 to 100.
crossed brow, going out of the supermarket, going, oh, this is. It's like, come on, man.
Do you
Um,
not think, George, that with that as well, that if you lose your power when you emotionally react to
oh, for
something in the
you,
external world?
well, you lose your control of yourself because you're not controlling yourself. Your
Yeah.
emotions are.
Hmm.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You absolutely lose your power because you're losing your power over something, and the something that you're losing power over is the control of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just to get that little bit of awareness, which hopefully we can start trying to get in this podcast with folk. But
Hmm.
it's like, because it's also something that people don't hear. You know,
What do you mean by that? Like
I
something
don't
that
think
people
it's
don't hear?
something that when you always talk about awareness, and every man and his dog's talking about mindfulness and things these days. But it's just
Aye.
like, what is
See, one
actually?
thing, yeah, it's
No, no, go.
purpose is another one. Purpose is another one it's thrown about as well.
Yeah, purpose
Like
and meaning.
what the fuck does that mean? Sorry,
Uh,
that's the first duck, is it?
that's about the second or
Oh,
third
mate.
duck. Quack, quack.
Yeah, yeah, mate. See, the
But
thing is, I'll however many ducks I'll get, I'll put money towards charity or something like a pound towards
There you
charity.
go.
Imagine at the end of a year, my
I
goodness.
know. It's like, dude, we want to still try and make him a little bit of money with this as well, But but yeah, no, it's like yeah, the awareness thing. It's like it's you hear the word, you hear the word awareness, you hear, as I said, for sure, mindfulness, and it's like, okay, what does that, not necessarily what does it mean in terms of concept, but what do you do with it?
Mm,
How do you define it? And you don't even have to go far. It's just like, okay, just be aware of what's going on in your head before you react.
yeah,
Cut the reaction a little bit. That's the thing. And you come back to what you're talking about, no sense of community. It's like, well, there's no surprise, man. On top of that, you look into this whole individualist collectivist kind of continuum, if you want, and it's like all the studies are showing it here for sure. All the Western world individualist, uh, not 100%, but we're much more majority individualist than not. But at least before, growing, as you said, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, within that individualism, there was still a sense of community, and community is always
yeah,
localized. And
yeah,
so, yeah, you can look at that as well from the in-group, out-group stuff, and or even if you're just looking at the in-group stuff, it's like, okay, I'm from this city, I'm from this part, so are you, and then that leads on to the stuff. It's like everything these days. It's like everything is just made to not divide people, but to separate people,
yeah,
and it just can't seem to get away from it all the time. And it's like, okay, well, I said that my mother's, I should probably say, uh, it was, what was it, 2 weeks ago, my mother's funeral. And one of the things I said at that, I was like, space is something which it can be seen as connective. It's not always something that separates people.
yeah.
Because it's like if you take out the space, then what's left? It's like you don't know what the hell you're looking at. You put in the space, then you can see everybody individually, but then you can still see everybody. That's the thing.
Mm,
But anyway, before going off in too much of a tangent, but it's like
yeah,
compassion, empathy, um, yes, seeing people as individual, but also it's not even really breaking down barriers and stuff. It's just like you're still another human being at the end of the day. And I think that's the thing which everybody's missing. It's like, yeah, but you're this and you're that, and you're some other label, and you're this race or ethnicity, or you're, this color. It's like,
yeah,
I don't give a just be a human being in front of me. I don't care of your status. I don't care your job. I don't care what the hell you're putting on LinkedIn and how proud you are of this and how satisfied and everything you are of that. It's like, dude, just be whoever you are in front of me, and that brings you right back to what's authenticity. Have you looked? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. 100%. And something you said there that, okay, I guess we're kind of coming full circle again with,
Mm-hmm.
with this the social side, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we all play a character, yeah, in the external world, and that is completely different to the true version of who you are. But you sometimes, when there's not alignment between the internal world and the external world, and if you're too outward facing in the external world so much,
Mm-hmm.
you end up forgetting who you truly are, and then how would I say, yourself, you then start to derive your self-worth and
Oh yeah,
meaning
yeah, yeah.
from likes, comments and follows in a social media. And this is the thing, as a father of two young boys, one 11, one 6,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always drumming it into them, like, it's not, identity is not built online, it's built offline in the small habits and the companies you choose to keep
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Oh, for sure. That's one of the things you talk about. That kind of stuff. It's like you wonder sometimes why the inner work is so not even difficult. Well, it is, of course, it's difficult to do, but just to get the click to start the process. Like all
Mm-hmm.
your senses are going outside. I think we talked about this before as well.
Yeah.
All the
Uh-huh.
senses are facing outside. Seeing, hearing, touching, smell, all this is outside. And so you're continually looking outside and you're getting all your data and sensory perception from the outside. And that just seems to kind of like go. like autonomic and run its course. And the again, hopefully, what we're doing with the podcast is just to bring. Oh, you got to plug it, man! Come on. And it's like
Aye.
it's it's like you just to bring just a little bit of awareness back to what's going on inside before you start to question why and what and everything else. It's just like bring it back and just sit for a minute. You don't have to start meditating. And there was one of the things which my old lama had said ages ago was like, try sitting. You just in brackets. You talk about meditating.
Can,
Go and meditate
can
for
I just
half an
stop
hour.
you there?
Yeah.
Just 2 seconds. I think it's quite better to define that it's not a llama as in terms of the animal. It's in terms of the Tibetan. Just
Indeed.
in just in case. Just wanted to
Yeah.
just
It's
yeah.
like you're not that. I'm not sitting in a farm, looking for alpacas and cashmere and that kind of stuff. It was like you're very correct, Daniel. It's a human
Just
being.
so because I know some people out there wouldn't know, so it's better to explain.
Yeah. There's no spitting going on either, by the way. So
This is getting derailed
yeah,
quick, is it?
yeah, it's gone. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it. And so the llama, the human being version of it, had said, uh, I now I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Sorry, man.
No, it's
That's
all
my
right.
bad.
There was another interesting thing he said as well was mindfulness takes time,
Mm.
and that's the thing. And it's like, and we said before as well, everything, and especially in mental health, well-being, it's always a process, and you cannot be at the end of the process and the start of the process at the same time. Yeah, again, coming back to awareness, it's like you have to be aware that there are steps ahead. And of course, there's steps ahead, but it's like really, you know, kind of integrate that into your how you're going to deal with it. It's like, okay, it's step after step after step. Everything's a process, man. And it's like, you want to be better, and that's the thing I think with the general sense of mental health is like you want to be better as soon as possible. Um, but at the same time, that you're, especially at the start, that you are actually at the start.
Hmm.
And you cannot be. And that's the conflict, is you cannot be at the end of it when you're at the start. You can't even be halfway through it. But you can just take your steps forward. I'm not sure if you're saying these kind of things in Men in Mind, but
Yeah.
it's something I think it's just a bit of take the emotional out of it. Because there's also the other thing. Why does a lot of the depression and stress and all these kind of things not always work? Because you can throw as much logic as you want at it, and it's still there. It's like, well, yeah, because it's emotional. It's not logical. I mean, some of it's logical, obviously, but it's the two kind of. I'm not saying they absolutely are opposites, but they work in opposite ways. So you can be, I don't know, sure that somebody doesn't like you, sure maybe you get divorced, or sure you're going to lose your job, and then the rumination starts, and you're sure that all these catastrophes are going to come after, whether your catastrophization or which is going to come with it. Um, but you just can't seem to break that chain, if you want, because it is a chain. Oh, I don't know if I'm still making sense anymore.
No, no, you are. You definitely are. It was something you said there about being at the start of it and wanting to get to the end as quick as
Yeah,
possible. It's a process that you really need to go through, and you need to engage in honest dialogue with
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
as to where you are
Hmm.
currently, how you got there, and how the hell you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you don't do it all. You intimated earlier as well. You don't do it all alone. Yeah,
Hmm.
but there is going to be certain walks that you have to do alone. That's just par for the course of life
Yeah.
anyway. But you always remember the ones that come down to sit in the darkness with you.
Yeah.
There's ones, and then it's funny because it's the ones that you don't necessarily think it would be.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess you get a true reflection of who is in your corner and not
Hmm.
just in your camp.
Hmm. Oh, for sure. I mean, all the studies on well-being. mental health. It's like, having some kind of social relationships. It's always there, always as like the a pillar of well-being is to have at least the ability or the capacity to have people to go and be with people. And it's not like the basic we're social animal stuff, all that kind of stuff, but it's like, it's proven all the time that social contact is one of the absolute necessities
Mm-hmm.
for mental health and mental well-being, and all the different types of well-being that you want to define. Um, and the other thing, on the other side of that, is that if you don't have it, then nobody knows that there's anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens when nobody knows if there's anything wrong? Well,
Things
probably
get
things
worse.
exactly things are
Mm-hmm.
probably going to get worse. So at least, if why isolation is always a bad thing. Um, it's like this is the thing, and it's a little bit of a duality, or kind of almost an irony. It's like the real work is done by yourself alone, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you need the social contact to counteract the how would I say, to counteract the possibility of going down the negative path, if you like,
To
the
mitigate
rumination
going
and
down
all.
the negative
Oh, no.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that
Yeah.
two kind of things going on. So it's a little bit, just to kind of cut the idea. There is this kind of duality that nobody can tell you your real self. Come back to authenticity. Nobody can tell you how you are authentic and what your authentic looks like. It's like your authenticity, I should say, actually looks like and what it feels like, because you can only feel your stuff yourself, is nobody can feel it for you. And again, that's where you come back into that, and that's when you're talking about the when you really know something is when you feel it to be true, not just that, and you can talk about anything, faith or whatever the hell you want to talk about with that, but it's like that when you feel something's true, that's when you really really know it's true, not just that you think it's true. And so the same kind of deal, I think, is going on with the authenticity and identity and who am I. um, but again, at the same time, you need that social contact, the lack, if you want, of isolation, to counteract going too deep and into, not too
I
deep into yourself, but
I like with what you're saying. Like I completely see what you're saying. That connection and belonging are found through others,
mhm.
but purpose and meaning is found from within yourself.
Yeah, and the
And see, like you talked about, like isolation. I remember going through one of a dark period where I just shut
yeah,
myself away from my family, my friends, and I was only ever picking up the phone to one or two people.
hmm
And to be honest, see, through isolation,
hmm
I developed a love for solitude,
uh-huh.
but I had to really push myself out of that isolation, because being in that isolation, being alone, you become a really ghoulish version of yourself.
Yeah,
You really, if you're going to isolate yourself and not have social contact as well.
hmm
But what that looks like in terms of, are you 80% alone and 20% with
well,
people, then it's up to the said individual to what they're comfortable with.
oh, for
Because,
sure, yeah.
like, if
And
you've got a love for solitude, like, there's nothing wrong with being alone.
no, for sure, but it has to be constructive in some way rather
Yes.
than destructive. And the other
Yeah.
thing I think with solitude is, it's not, obviously we're not saying that solitude and because it's solitude and isolation is not the same thing, and especially if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it over time, because the point is that being alone, it helps an awful lot, but it has to be temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And the key thing is not necessarily isolation, well, isolation, let's say separation, or being alone. It's the length of time that you're alone. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. And I think the longer that you let yourself be alone, then almost the worst thing is to do is to get comfortable in being alone. And it's not necessarily a problem in itself. It's just when you link it back to the lack of social connection, that's when it starts to be a problem, I think. You know? So you can, it's not that being alone is a bad thing and you have to be out and be an extrovert all the time. It's like I I couldn't handle that, you
No,
know.
no.
But it's just like you don't do it all the time, you know. And just to again to bring the awareness back to be alone, go and do your own thing alone, whatever that may be, being walking around in the nature or just sitting at home, or as long as it's not sitting watching Netflix or TV or and absolutely not the news. That's like the worst thing you could possibly do
Oh,
is
yeah.
sit alone on a Thursday night and watch the news. It's like, dude, I don't know anything possibly worse for your mental health that you can do than that.
I'd rather crack my hand and clap than watch the news. Like,
Oh, for sure. So, but yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like I think the key thing there isn't like the concept itself of being alone. It has just it has to be temporary.
hmm, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, 100% agree with you because we're social beings at the end of the day, and we need that connection and belonging.
Yeah,
But it's like it seems very far apart now nowadays with the lack of community and yeah, I noticed it. Like I noticed it when we had really bad snow here at the start of
yeah,
January,
yeah,
every
yeah,
two
yeah.
3 weeks, and I've got like a couple of elderly neighbours just a few doors down from me.
Mhm, mhm.
So like you couldn't get the cars out. There was no chance. Like the road where I stay is just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
So I was like, right, Saka, I need to go to the shop just to get like milk and just bits and bobs, tea and
mhm,
coffee and that. Says I'll take my massive like backpack with me, and I chopped on the door to a couple of my elderly neighbours and seen if
mhm,
they needed any. I was just going
mhm.
like 15-minute walk to the shop or whatever, but
Yeah,
their family was managing to get back and forth with them. But that it was that sense of community, like that doesn't happen
yeah,
anymore. I dare say that's like doing that is maybe a bit of a rare case because everybody just wants to keep themselves.
yeah,
Life is tough. Life is tough, right? And Abdi just wants to muddle on and get on with life, figure out what their lot is in life and what they're meant to be doing, and just put it away.
yeah.
That's what most people want to do,
But
and
it's
just
difficult to figure that out alone. This is the thing.
yeah,
It's difficult
yeah.
to figure that out alone and not like just go into absolute rumination, as an end result. But it's like,
But then
because
there's
this is.
also
Mhm.
sorry, mate. On you
No,
go.
no, 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 go.
There's also an argument for saying that it's much better to be alone and at peace with yourself than to be with somebody and feel alone.
Well, that's if that's the duality of the choice, then yeah. But I don't think that's a choice. I think which is that common, unless you're making bad relationship choices or something. I don't know.
Well,
There's
there's that.
always that.
There is that.
But it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, no, it's like, what are you getting out of? I think relationships will probably be another another episode or
Another
something.
episode, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like, again, coming into community, lack of community, lack of, as I said, it's not necessarily collectivism, but just openness to exchange with other people for no other reason than for the exchange itself. Let's say, you know, um, like this is the example with the snow. I mean, I saw that again with my dad because I was also back in Aberdeen for
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
that snow and spent 2 days getting to Elgin from Aberdeen. Talk about communication. I'm sorry, but the you gotta you gotta sort some stuff out with communication when the snow comes because there wasn't any. Um, Worst case, we'll quack that out as well. But it's like there
Sorry.
has to be a specific reason to do that, and
Mhm.
it's like you can't get out of your house and you can't get down to the shop. It's like what the stuff which we're taking for granted and everything these days, and it's like um, you have to have this reason before a reason smacking you in the face before you go ahead and just do these kind of things for people. It's like, why the hell not? Why do you have to have that reason? Why not just go and do it? You know? You might shock the hell out of the other person probably these days, now, but it's just like, well, what's the worst that's gonna happen? They say no,
Mhm.
you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something that I think we've seen going down over the last 20 years or so. Like you say, a lack of sense of not even well community. I think is an example of it, but just like I said, a lack of you said curiosity before, curiosity, openness to just go
Hmm.
ahead and even just make a joke with somebody.
Yeah,
The
laughter is the best
oh, for
medicine
sure.
for sorrow, is it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's the thing, and that's why we talked before about dark humor and all the rest of it,
Yeah,
because it's also one of the ways that helps you get through all this crap when you have to deal with it. But I think the how do you say the yeah, everybody talks about losing faith in humanity, and it's like, well, this is one of the examples of why that's happening. You know,
yeah,
like you say,
yeah.
everybody's stuck into themselves and their own stuff, and then uh, it's like, well, guys, you're not the only ones going through it. Obviously, I mean, Men in Mind, you're seeing that with Men in Mind. I was like, you're
Mhm.
not the only one going through it, and at least with Men in Mind, just bring it back to Men in Mind. I'll do you some free advertising.
Can
It's
shout
like,
out men in mind.
yeah, Men in Mind,
Oh,
guys, well
boys.
done. And it's like, obviously you're not going. Everybody isn't going through this alone, or they
Yeah,
are going through it alone, but it's like you're not the only one going through it. And this is one of the things is that I think with these kind of things, I don't know, I might be wrong because I'm not in Men in Mind, but it's like when the moment that you notice that you're not the only one going through all this different levels or depths of it and all the rest of it, it just reduces the intensity of it a little bit. It doesn't say
yeah.
it's not a problem anymore and things are okay now. It's just like it just takes the edge off, I
It's,
think.
I think as well, like things like men in mind, for instance, like one thing that surprised me most
Hmm.
with men in mind is the camaraderie and the
Aye.
friendships that have been formed because of these guys coming to the group. And I count myself in that as well. The kind of camaraderie and
Hmm.
the friendships that I've made through the group as well
Hmm.
is that is probably the biggest thing that surprised me, and it's one thing that I think helps ease the personal burdens that the guys are going through,
Hmm.
because they're there, and every single one of the guys that comes regularly are all invested in one another,
Yeah.
and we're invested in their story as well.
Mm.
So that's to say, like, we care about what's going on with you.
Yeah.
We want to see you get better. We don't
Yeah.
want to see you in this hole just now
Hmm.
that you're in. How can we help you? Maybe speaking a bit of advice, or even just asking questions. I find myself at Men in Mind, when I'm facilitating the meetings, asking questions to the guys to try and build a picture as to what's going on with them, because a lot of the new guys coming in, they might not want to share too much. They'll
Yeah.
share,
Yeah.
but sometimes, digging a little bit to get more context to the story of what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not coming from a place of being nosy, it's coming
Hmm.
from a place of, care, coming from a
Hmm.
place that we want to help you, we want to
Yeah.
know what's going on with you. And if you can be open and honest, and I take my hat off to, I've got so much love, respect, and admiration for every single one of that guys that come
Mm.
to the groups, because it's not an easy thing to do, to come over the threshold of a door in a group of
Yeah.
strangers and say, my external life and internal world is just hell just now.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
Yeah.
And you see some of the guys, it's horrible to see guys coming in like that. But see,
Hmm.
after like a couple of weeks, 3 4 weeks, it's night, honestly, George, night and
Night and
day.
day.
Well, a lot of these guys, that if it clicks for them and it works for them, and they're coming and the camaraderie, and it's like, it's, yeah. And the problems faced, is a wealth for, obviously, with groups like Men in Mind, you'll always have depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
those side of things. But then there's bereavement,
Hmm.
there's the separation and divorce,
Yeah.
there's physical guys struggling physically. There's just a number of different things but we're all there with a common goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all going through hell, or some of us have been through hell and are out the other side, and we're
Hmm.
there to help.
Hmm.
So it's just like-minded guys coming together and just offering a psychologically safe space
Yeah.
for men, and now women, with women in
Yeah.
mind, to open up. So it's great. It's something so simple, because it's amazing what. an encouraging word or a listening ear can do,
Oh
you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think there's some because it's this kind of thing. It's like if you put that into the context of what we've been talking about for the last like 57 minutes.
I need
Um,
to cut that soon, is
oh, I'll
it?
cut it out soon. Yeah, it's like just throwing that in there. But it's like you put that in the context of what we've been talking about. It's like, well, where's the opportunity? Where are the opportunities going to come
Mhm.
to get that specifically encouraging word or encouraging ear, if you want to say? It's like, where are these coming from? Well, you're not the conditions are not really there anymore for that just to come out unless you specifically go somewhere, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's it. And there's only
And
so much buying you can get doing things maybe online as
yeah,
opposed to seeing the whites of somebody's eyes across the table,
well,
you know?
that's the thing. That's the thing. The human contact, man. It's like the irony of us doing this over the internet, but it's because we don't have another choice, you know. Um,
Maybe one
but
day,
yeah, one
European
day,
tour.
when we're all rich and famous and stuff, and
Aye, right.
everybody's asking for George and Danny.
Uh,
But it's like the conditions are percentages are much less for the conditions to be available to have this kind of ear or just to have somebody listen or to somebody offer the encouraging words. It's not
mhm.
like what it was before, if it was ever really there before, especially for guys, But we're going
Yeah.
into something else there. But it's like, and I'm assuming that one of the other secondary points with men in mind would then be take what you've learned inside there and then take it out into the outside world. You know,
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose that's
it's not obviously a primary goal, but it's like if you want to start
yeah.
making
I
some
mean, from a
changes.
personal side,
Mm,
from me, yeah, it's helped me understand, that there's a lot more people out there that suffer with a whole host of different ailments or
hmm
emotional, psychological, or physical ailments.
hmm
But yeah, it opens your eyes. It
Yeah,
certainly opens your eyes. And I heard somebody say this before, and I can't remember who it was. Says if we were all to put our troubles and our problems in the middle of a table, and you saw everybody else's problems, you'd be very quick to take yours back.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And I thought, and then with like, I never understood it when I heard it, and then
hmm
when going to Men in Mind, and you hear some of the things that guys have had to go through or are going through, and but it breaks your heart, like
Yeah.
it really does.
I think one of the things inside that is the thing with one of the difficulties with gratitude,
Mm.
because gratitude is in this case is going to be comparative. It's going to be comparative of like like I said, there's always going to be somebody worse. We talked about this before about um, the upward social comparison, and this is why how we define success and all the rest of it, and it's always material, money, car, house, whatever. you know you're always looking above because you want more, but then the moment you start looking down, then that's the little bit when the gratitude starts to come in. And then when you realize that you are looking down, so when everybody's putting their stuff on the table, um, the problem then with the gratitude coming into that is that reactionally it's like, well, at least I'm not as bad as that, and then you think, well, maybe mine is not necessarily okay, but it's not that bad. And at the same time as that, that can also be the break. um, it can put brakes on going ahead and continuing to work out and doing the inner work that you have to do, because it's like, okay, well, things are not that bad. And it's the same kind of thing with gratitude, and with, like I said, with downward social comparison, you're looking, it's like, okay, well, I'm fine. It's like, okay, well, then that starts to screw around with your ambitions, because it's
Mm.
like, okay, well, I'm not that bad. Maybe I just stopped working on my ambitions so intensely. And I think it's the same kind of deal with the inner work that you have to do. When you look, it's not necessarily a bad thing or a negative thing, but it's a something which has a bigger chance of happening is you'll maybe work less on yourself and doing your inner work, because it's like, okay, well, in the whole scheme of things, maybe I'm not that bad. It's again, it's just something to be aware of. It's not that everybody does it or that or whatever, but it's just like I think that's one of the things that you need to be aware of if you're really getting into digging into all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right, so there's a lot of unknown and uncharted territory
Yeah,
when you start to look inward,
yeah,
and to try and take it all on at once,
hmm
it is going to destroy you. It
yeah,
needs to be slow, steady, piece by piece, dismantled
yeah,
and
yeah,
built back up again, does it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well. We must be coming up for time now, anyway.
Well, we're at an hour and two.
All right. Oh well, I think that's it's
I
been
think
pretty
that's all
good.
right.
I think first one, and
Go
certainly
on.
looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I
This is
think.
just going to I think
Well,
there's going to be a few things added over the course, and we'll probably get some featured structures or something, a bit of banter or
yeah,
something. But no, I think initially just coming on and just having a conversation,
yeah,
just about, well, we've had conversations like we've just had over the last 6 months, God knows
yeah,
how many,
yeah.
because it's been a fair
Quite a
few.
lot.
But yeah, but it's been really interesting.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting and really good, and it's been good fun doing this
Oh, for
today as
sure.
well.
That's the thing. It's always
Yeah.
it's and as I said, it's or as we said, it's like, you know, if anybody does actually listen to this, it's like, dude, you're not
It's
alone.
just a bonus, is it?
It's a bonus, yeah, but for
Just a
us,
bonus.
but for anybody else, it's like nobody's alone going through all these kind of things. Everybody's got it to some
Got
level.
your Uncle Danny and your Uncle George now, folks.
That's the one. You
Aye.
get your
But no,
Uncle
it's,
Danny at Men in Mind. It's like
but
I'm
you're
looking
right.
for Uncle Danny, man.
Unk. Aye. But no, that's the thing. It's just, yeah, see where this goes. It's just like,
Test it.
it'd be great to hear what people actually think if they've got anything from the conversation that we've had today.
Yeah, yeah.
So I dare say, if you have enjoyed it, please do express your thoughts. What we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what else do you want to see? Any topics or areas of discussion, I think George and I would be more than open to having a
Oh yeah,
gander at
for
it.
sure, absolutely.
And
And
yeah,
once we get some more money and technological skills, I'll put one of these subscribe and like things on the.
yeah, we'll get there.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So
We'll get there. I think the important part is getting this right and getting
yeah,
this out, because we could sit and we could ponder on, like, we could have sat and pondered on names for ages, on
yeah,
logos, on everything else, but the structure and the theme of what we're going to be speaking about is rock solid,
yeah,
on solid
yeah.
ground, and the rest will naturally evolve through the course of time.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, it's like I said, everything's a process, man. Even this, it's like we
Yeah.
can't come out and have some absolutely sparkly finished product on the first go. It's like nothing happens like that. There's always a hell of a lot of work done in the background. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of a hell of a lot of work, it's like both of us have been at least 5 years working through everything ourselves. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there's qualifications, yeah, there's work experience and all the rest of it, but also at the same time, it's like we've been dealing with our stuff for like a long time.
Yeah.
This isn't
Right.
just looking from the outside in. This is looking more like from the inside out.
Some hard fought knowledge and
Indeed,
wisdom
hard
which
fought,
has been
Danny.
obtained.
Hard
Yes,
fought.
hard fought. Ooh, are.
Yeah, there you go. Ooh,
Ooh,
well,
are.
let's just finish with the ooh then.
Ooh, are. That'll be the sign off. Ooh, are.
All
See you on
right.
the next one, folks.
See you in the next one. Ooh. All right.